Hi everyone, welcome back. You've been learning about the platform framing system. We looked separately at the floors, the walls, and the roofs. Now I want to review the details for an entire platform framing system so you can see how those work together. And we're going to look at this detail here from the California Residential Code. It is a masonry veneer wall. So what we've got is the platform framing structural system. This is the wood system here with a masonry veneer along the exterior. And we're going to start at the bottom and zoom in kind of on this foundation and floor detail, take a look at the wall and the window, and finally end up at the roof. All right, starting from the bottom, we have our foundation wall right here, which would extend down. It looks like this could be a crawl space or a basement foundation. We don't know at this point because we can't see how far down that goes. Here is the interior of the house, and here is the exterior on this side, and here's the existing grade. Okay. On top of the foundation wall, right, which looks like it's constructed out of CMU, we have the pressure-treated sill plate. Right. Here's our anchor bolt holding that sill plate down into the foundation wall. Okay. On top of that, we have, this is the floor joist. All right, it's sitting on top of that sill plate. And as you have multiple floor joists in that floor platform, they are joined together, they're connected together with this edge or band or rim joist right here. Okay. On top of that floor platform, we have, it looks like plywood sheathing right here. That's our floor platform. Right. And then we have our wall construction on top of that, starting with the sole plate or bottom plate. Right. And then you can't really see it, but it's these lines right here. These are the wood studs as they continue. Right. On the inside, this is going to be the inside face of the house. This is probably drywall, or right, interior finish. And on the exterior face here, we've got some structural sheathing. It's not called out, but that's probably a plywood sheathing. So this is all the structural piece of this platform framed house. And the exterior veneer here, in this case, is masonry. So we're going to see these bricks. Here's individual bricks. Okay. And we've got the mortar in between the bricks. That's the piece that you see right here. So an entire thickness, it's called a wythe of masonry veneer, right? In this direction, it's going to go all the way up the building. But even though it's self-supporting, look, it's sitting on the foundation here. The weight of that masonry is borne by the foundation here. It's also tied back into your structural wall. And that's so the single thickness of brick doesn't kind of bend and fall off. And so that's what this tie system right here that you see. Okay. We've also got some waterproofing going on. So any water that penetrates through here, penetrates through the masonry, is going to kind of drip down this whole system. Right? It's not shown, but there's going to be some building paper, some or waterproof membrane coming in through here. And then this is called flashing. This piece right here that you see that's kind of looks like a J. All right. And the flashing is going to collect any water that falls down this cavity and direct it outside. Just say, get out of there. All right. So that is kind of our floor detail for this system. Moving up the wall, right, you can see that this is the same wall that we just learned about. Here is the wall studs. By the way, I forgot to mention that this back and forth S piece right here is indicating that there is insulation in the cavity of our wall. All right. And so here is our sheetrock or drywall interior finish. Here is that plywood sheathing. In this case, they did label that water resistive barrier there. And here's our masonry veneer. right? And what we're trying to show in this particular detail is an opening in the wall. So here we have a window. Here is the actual window piece right here, right? And we're cutting through the glass, would go right about there. Okay, here's a piece of glass and here's a piece of glass. This is the window sill. And remember when we were looking at the framing diagrams and we saw the rough sill? That's this piece right here. The window component is sitting, it's resting on that rough sill. Okay. Up above, we have the header. Now in this case, it's showing an absolutely minimal, just a 2x4 nailer here. So it's possible that in this detail, there is actually a header for the opening higher above, right? And we can see that we have an opening in our masonry wall as well. So this masonry, these bricks are being cut through, and these ones we're just looking at the side of some bricks that are further beyond our section cut here. Right. And so we see that sill piece right here. And we see that the masonry, the bricks that are above the windowsill are being carried. This is a steel L shape right here that's carrying that masonry above. All right, continuing up, we're just going up and up this wall. All right, here is our same wall that we've been seeing. Here's the wall stud with the insulation in the cavity. Here's our inside with our sheetrock. Here is, for some reason it's not showing up, but here is our plywood sheathing. And we've talked about this masonry veneer wall, all right, with the metal ties right here. So the difference is now we're looking at the top of the wall. We've got a double top plate, 1, 2, right? And then this would be the ceiling joist coming across and resting on that double top plate. For some reason we're missing a line here, but that would indicate the sheetrock or drywall that's attached up there so that we finish off that ceiling. Finally, we have our roof coming over and resting on that wall, and this is the rafter system right here. So it would come and you would cut right there. Okay, remember that bird's eye cut. Here's the roof rafter. The roofing is going to go on top of that. So we have roof sheathing. That's a layer of plywood right on top of those rafters. On top of that plywood, we would have your roofing felt. So that's going to be your water resistant membrane. And then whatever roofing materials, it looks like we've got maybe some asphalt shingles indicated in this piece here. Okay. So remembering that this edge of the roof is called the eaves. It looks like this eave has been finished off with a fascia board. Right? And we've got a closed soffit in this case, and that's this board right here. This would be the soffit. All right, so we've just gone through an entire example all the way from the foundation. We saw the wall framing, we saw the window, we saw the ceiling and the roof.